Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name's Lauren and I'm going to be showing you my go-to glam look today. This is my first video, so please bear with me and please be nice. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so let's jump straight in. Firstly, I'm going to use this Unicorn Primer Drops Beauty Elixir. I really like this. I saw somebody use it and recommend it, and I thought, with it being so cheap, I'll give it a whirl. And it sits really nicely under my foundation, so just give that a nice rub in with my fingers. I've already put moisturiser on my face. I use the Clinique Moisture Surge Intense moisturiser. I've got quite combination skin, so although I can get oily, I get really dry as well, and particularly at the moment because I've had a chemical peel a few days ago, just popping a bit more on. I am quite dry at the moment, so I'm having to be really careful and moisturise quite a lot, but hopefully it shouldn't be too bad today. So the foundation that I'm going to use today is the new Urban Decay Stay Naked Weightless Liquid Foundation up to 24-hour wear. Now I certainly won't be wearing it for 24 hours, but I'm going to give it a whirl and see what I think of it. My ride or die is the Estee Lauder Double Wear. I'm obsessed, use this all the time, tried so many foundations and just for me nothing compares to it. But I've heard good things about this, so I'm hoping that I'll love it. Now, I'm a bit of a cheapskate and I will not buy a high-end foundation unless I know that I love it. So I popped along to my local Debenhams that has the Urban Decay counter in it, and the woman there was absolutely fab, and she gave me 2 of these samples. So she colour matched me and gave me 2 samples to try out. I just think life's too short to be wasting money on foundations that you might not even like. So yeah, this is what I do to try out foundations, and then if I know that I love it, then I'll go along and buy it. See, I've probably squirted out about half of one sachet onto my hand there, and there was quite a lot there, so that's good. So I would hopefully will just use 1 sachet on my face now, and then I'll have another sachet to use another time. So I'm going to start off by going in with my Real Techniques beauty sponge and just bouncing that in on my face. The shade that I was matched up to was 30NN. I do have a neutral undertone to my skin. So yeah, I mean, in other foundations I would say MAC, like an NC 15 to 20 depending on how my colour is. My double wear, I wear the shade Ecru. I mean, it does look a little bit pale on camera, but it's not too pale. It literally, because I've got quite a bit of redness in my skin, as it's cancelling out that redness, it will just look a bit paler than how I normally look. I mean, I would definitely agree that it's a medium coverage. I definitely need to put some more on. I tend to like quite a full coverage. I'm an all or nothing kind of gal. So if I'm wearing makeup, I don't wear makeup every day. Sometimes I don't even wear makeup every week. But when I do wear makeup, I want to feel like I'm making a difference with it. So I don't go in for those all natural vibes like some people. You know, everyone, each to their own. You know, and we all do what makes us happy. But I like a lot of makeup. Just put some of that across my lids. Right, so it's looking nice on the skin so far. Just for me, I definitely feel like I need some extra coverage. So I'll get a bit more out of this sachet and see if we can build it up. It's particularly across my cheeks that I like extra coverage, just to try and tone down the redness. let's have a look. So that's built up quite nicely. More to the coverage that I'd like. Definitely not full coverage, but it's nice. Now, I have to say, I think it is looking a tiny bit cakey on my skin, which I don't love, but we'll give it a chance to settle in. Carry on with the rest of the makeup and just see how it goes. So, I'm going to go in with the Tarte Shape Tape Concealer in the shade Fair Neutral. I don't put a massive amount of concealer under my eyes. Unfortunately, as I'm getting older, it just creases and is not very flattering. So I would much rather go in with a little bit and then go back in if I need to add a bit more coverage. So I'll just blend that in again with the beauty sponge under my eye. I'm bringing that up across my eyelid. For the eye look that I'm doing today, I tend to just use concealer rather than a proper eyeshadow base. And just blending out the other side. So I will add a little bit of concealer to the other midpoints of my face. I have quite a big forehead, so I don't massively love to highlight it, but I'll go down the bridge of my nose, a little bit on my forehead, a little bit on my chin, and across the Cupid's bow. And again, just blend that out with my beauty sponge. I'm just going to have a look at the skin. So already I do feel like I look a little bit cakey in places, and I know some of you will be thinking, how can she possibly feel that this foundation looks cakey when she wears the Estee Lauder Double Wear? And I don't know what it is about that foundation. I always apply it with the beauty sponge and I just don't feel like it looks that cakey. Don't get me wrong, it has its moments, but I feel like this is cakier. So I've just sprayed my skin with the MAC Fix Plus Prep and Prime. This is the rose flavoured one, but I'm just obsessed with this product. Like, it just helps everything melt into the skin. So just giving a quick spritz in with that just to see if we can try and get it to look a bit more skin-like and a little less cakey. The concealer sat really nicely on top of it, so obviously that's great. So I'm going to go in with my Laura Mercier Loose Translucent Setting Powder. Now I quite like to go in with my powder on a sponge, so I get another, this is a different Real Techniques beauty sponge, and I just dip my sponge into the powder. I do use a sponge damp, and then just go in and just gently press that powder under my eyes, applying enough just to set that area in place. Now unfortunately I will get creases under my eyes just because that's the nature of the beast when you're over 25, and you know, it is what it is. And then I'm just going to go across my eyelids as well just to set them in place. Just keep dipping back in for small amounts of powder. I just shake my powder into the lid and then it's easy accessible, and then a little bit down the nose, just all those places that I applied the concealer. Then when I'm happy that I've powdered everywhere that needs to be powdered, I just go in with the brush and just wipe away any loose powder that's trying to hang around, any excess that we don't need. Having said it looks cakey, you know, I am trying to bear in mind that I have had a chemical peel on my skin. My skin is peeling slightly at the moment, and it may just be that, so I will give this foundation another try. I won't just give up hope with it today because it's looking a bit ugh on my skin. So I've powdered everywhere I want to. I don't set the whole of my face with powder. I will only set the places that I've put concealer. So now that I've set those areas, I'm going to go in with the Hoola by Benefit. This is the original shade. In fact, this is a mini one. So cute. So I'm just going in with this Real Techniques big fluffy brush just to bronze up my cheeks. I tend to like to go in with just a little bit and then just build up as much as, you know, necessary as I want to build. Pop a little bit on my temples. Now this is my go-to glam look, so sometimes I will do a cream contour, particularly if I am tanned. This look that I'm doing today, I would do the same look whether I was tanned or pale. I think that it goes really nicely with all skin tones. So normally I would cream contour, particularly if I was more tanned and I wanted, you know, it to be a bit more standout. So just contouring around the forehead, going back through, making sure everything's blended nicely together. Pop a little bit under the jaw, but not too much, because I mean I do have a ginormous double chin and there's just no contouring let out, and I'm fine with that. Okay, then I like to go in with blush. Now this is not a new blush, in fact I never see anyone talk about this blush, but I absolutely love it. This is Luster by Nars, and it's just got some nice, it's like an orangey shade but with some nice sort of gold flecks of glittering. I'm obsessed. And then I'll just go in with a Sigma blusher brush and just tap that onto the apples of my cheeks. It just adds a nice little flush of colour. I am obsessed with blusher. I cannot relate to people that are only just getting into blusher and, oh, I never used to use blusher and I'm just getting into it. Can't relate. That is not me at all. I have been ride or die blusher for as long as I've been wearing makeup. I don't know what it is about blusher, I just love it. Love, love, love it. And with highlight, now when I am my normal pale shade, I tend to go in with the Mercier Luminizer by the Balm. I'm obsessed with this. This pore highlighter has been destroyed and I have put it back together. Poor thing. Poor thing. I'm gonna go in with like a fluffy crease brush really. I quite like to use a smaller brush and sort of have more control over where I'm putting my highlight rather than just going in anywhere with it. So just going at the top of my cheekbones here and just blend that in nicely. We don't want any harsh stripes of highlighter. That is not the vibe that I'm going for. Just the same on the other side. Now at this point again, I'll go back in with my MAC Fix Plus and just give another really good spray. I love all the powders to just melt in together. I don't want to look cakey, and I just want it to kind of sit a bit like a second skin. I know that that's a lot to ask considering I like to wear a lot of makeup, but just to sit as naturally as it can on the skin. That is basically the face side of things done. So I'm going to move on to the eyes. I'll zoom you in so you can see what I'm doing a bit better. There we go. I think if I come a bit more forward. So I do have hooded eyes, and you know, that's fine, lots of us have hooded eyes, but there are a few things that I do to sort of compensate for the fact that I have hooded eyes, and I'll show you those tips as I go through doing my eye makeup. So the palette that I'm going to use, which I've just got foundation on, it's a hot mess anyway, because this is my most loved palette. Of all the palettes that I've got, and there are definitely plenty of them in my drawers, this is the one that I will just go to and pick up time and time again. And it is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Modern Renaissance palette. Wow, what a hot mess that is. You can see how loved mine is. The first shade that I go in with is Raw Sienna, so that's this one here. So just on a nice fluffy brush, this is my Sigma E35, I'll just go in and just start blending that into the crease. So I use circular motions and windsweeper. That is not the right word. What word am I looking for? Windscreen wiper motions. There we go. hello brain, we are in there somewhere. So I'm just going to do the same on the other eye. So I'm quite happy with how much I've got that colour built up on my eyes. So what I'll do is I'll go in next with burnt orange, my beloved, and I'll go in on just a slightly denser brush. This one is the Zoeva 227 Luxe Soft Definer, and I'll just tap into that burnt orange colour and start blending that in the crease, but slightly lower down. Now, I don't always do my face makeup first, depending on what sort of a look I'm doing. Depends on if I do eyes or face, but for this look I always do face first because it's nothing too crazy dramatic, it's just something nice and sort of subtly blown out, and I don't find that there's much fallout from these shadows, so there's not a huge cleanup mission that we need to do afterwards. You know, it's not like we're using really colourful shadows, so yeah, don't want any harsh lines there. And then I'll just show you in comparison to the other eye like how much we built it up there. I think we just need to blend out slightly. I'm going back in with the brush that I used first off with the raw sienna on there, just blending out that bit where it looks a little bit harsh. Okay, so going in with the same again, burnt orange on this side, going into the crease, circular motions. I am bringing it down to sort of the edge of the eyelid here, just ready to blend it out. Build up a little bit more in there. And then again, just going back with that original brush that I used with raw sienna, and just making sure that I'm blending out those edges because I don't want anything to look harsh or unblended. And if at any point we lose one of the colours, we can always go back in and blend some more of it in, which I tend to do, not necessarily at this point, but the next point where we add a deeper shade, I tend to then start going back and forth, making sure that we're still keeping those layers in, so I'm still seeing all the different shadows that I'm using, but that they're seamlessly, well, as seamlessly as I can possibly achieve, blended out. Next thing we're going to do is go in with the shade Cypress Umber, which is this gorgeous dark brown shade, and I'm going to go in with quite a concentrated brush with this. I don't want it to be too all over the show if I can help it. Famous last words. So I'm using the Zoeva Luxe Petite Crease, the 231 brush, and I'm just dipping into that, tapping off the excess, and then I'm just starting down by the lash line here, just gently blending that shadow in there, and then once I've deposited sort of the majority of the product down there, and then bringing it up and blending it through that outer corner. And then just bringing it across the crease slightly. I don't want it to be too heavy in the crease, so that's why I'm literally only bringing that excess over. And I want the heaviest bit of it to be down near the lash line. But as you can see, I have lost a lot of the colours that I've already put on, so I will go back in now with the burnt orange first and go over the top in that crease and just get the definition of that shade back in there. And then again with my biggest brush, I'm back in with a tiny bit of raw sienna and just blending out those lines. So just on the other side, doing the exact same step. My camera just went funny there and switched off for some unknown reason, so if the transition here is a bit weird, then don't mind me. I'm going to go back in with the Tarte Shape Tape now, and just pop a little bit on the back of my hand. And then I like to get a brush, obviously. I like to use the Zoeva Luxe Smoky Shader. I know that this sounds crazy. Why is she applying concealer with a smoky shader brush? I don't know. I just did it one day and I love it, so that's what I do. Because I have hooded lids, I constantly raise my eyebrows to compensate for the fact that my eyebrows are quite heavy. And I can lose a lot of my lid space. So what I've done there is I have applied concealer and then I've looked up, and this is where my crease should effectively be when my eyes are relaxed. Now what you'll see is sometimes I will lose a lot of that, of those shades that I put in the crease. So what I'll start to do is I'll pack the concealer across the lid and start to bring it up to sort of meet that shade. I don't always bring it up necessarily as high as it is now, but I will certainly bring it up to almost meet that. I'm just gonna get my mirror here, try and make sure that I'm still on camera doing this so I can actually see what I'm doing. I feel like for me this technique really opens out my eye, makes it look more awake. So I've just gone 3/4 of the way over with the concealer, just carving out that crease. Now if you wanted to do a more subtle look, you could completely avoid doing the concealer altogether and it would still look fab, but because this is my glam look, this is my go-to, this is what I do. So I'm going to go in now with the shade Primavera, if that's how you pronounce it. I'm using the Detailed Shader by Zoeva. I'm going to give this brush a spritz with MAC Fix Plus. Just because we're going in with like a glittery shade, it just means you get better colour payoff with it. So I've not set the concealer that I've put on my lid there. I'm just going straight in on top with this Primavera shade. So I'll just give it a tiny little pat in case it's decided that it wanted to crease anywhere, making sure it's all sort of blended in nicely, and then going straight in now with this Primavera shade all the way across, just sort of patting that on. Sometimes it is easier to pat it on than it is to try and swipe all over that area where we've got the concealer. I've taken it right up, but just avoided that tiny bit at the top there that you can see that is sort of a bit out of place for the rest of it, and just going to blend it in now with the sides as well, just tap 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 in there. And I love the sort of foiled effect that it gives. So what I'm going to do now, just to blend back in, is I'm going to go in with a Zoeva smudger brush, the 226, and literally I'm going to dip it into Cypress Umber, and then I'm going to wipe most of that product off on my hand because I only want a tiny bit, and I'm just going to go in where to get rid of the concealer, basically here. So I'm just going to smudge it in there slightly because we do want the Cypress Umber shade there anyway. Just going to go in there slightly and just get rid of that concealer bit, just stamp it on, get rid of the concealer that we didn't want to be there. And again, it's just steps. We're just going to go back through with the same brush that we used burnt orange, put some more burnt orange on. My camera basically had another meltdown where it decided that it was too hot, and switch yourself off. So in the meantime, whilst I was waiting for it to pull itself together, I have basically just gone in on the other eye and done the same thing. Applied concealer, applied that Primavera shade, and then I've gone back in with the smudger brush just to reintroduce that Cypress Umber back at the top. And then I've gone back in as well with the Petite Crease, Luxe Petite Crease brush that I used, and just gently just gone across here just to keep it nice and smooth blended, but make sure that we've got a little bit of that Cypress Umber across the top, bring in the depth. So then all I need to do now with the top of the eyes is go back in with burnt orange, and just making sure that we're nice and blended there. Sorry about that. And then again, tiny bit of raw sienna and blending that out. So the thing with eyeshadow is just go back through your steps until you're happy with exactly what you've got. So I'll do my crease colour, then I'll go in and put in the concealer, put on that lid colour, then I'll go back in and rebuild up all my crease colours, and then I might go back in with the lid colour again because I feel like I've lost a bit at the top, and you just keep switching back through until you're happy with what you've got. And you know, I'm pretty happy with what I've got now. I feel like perhaps on this eye we could come down just a little lower, so just quickly do that and blend it all out. But yeah, it's whatever you're happy with, you know, so just keep going back through your steps until you're happy with what you've got. So there we are. So I'm just going to go straight across the band of my lashes, just to give something to hide the false lash band. Brain, somebody send help. Okay, so we've got liner across both sides. I'll just let that dry. Go in and do my under eye now. So the same smudger brush that I used to try and be careful at the top, I'm going to use at the bottom. So it's the Zoeva Smudger 226, and I'm just going to go back in with the Cypress Umber shade and just probably halfway across my bottom lash line, I'll just smudge that in. I love quite a smoky lower lash line. And then I'll go in and blend that out with the same brush that I used before and the burnt orange shade. And the same on the other side. Okay, so that's how the eyes are looking now. Obviously I need to apply some lashes, so I'm going to go in with these lashes that are from Primark. They are in the style Iconic. They're just lovely, they're full and wispy, and I love that. I feel like lashes can really change how dramatic you want a look to be. For my brows, I'm going to use the NYX, she says, where is it? The NYX Microbrow pencil, and I use that in the shade Espresso. I'm going to speed through my brows and apply my lashes off camera, and then I'll come back to you when I've done. So the lashes are on. Can we take a minute to appreciate these? £2. Now, unpopular opinion, I actually apply my mascara after I've already put my lashes on. I'm just going in with this. I don't really have many mascaras at the minute because I was wearing, I had Russian lashes done for quite a while, so I sort of ran out of mascaras. But I was in Primark the other day and I picked up this Falsie Lash Queen mascara, and it's cruelty free, which I thought was pretty cool, and I think it cost me about £3.50 if I remember rightly, which was just ridiculous. So I thought, yeah, I'll give it a whirl. So just put a nice little coat of mascara on my natural lashes to help them blend in with the false lashes, and then I love a coat of bottom lash mascara. So just bottom lash mascara on the other eye. I'm blending the top lashes in. In the midst of being nervous and it being my first video, etc., there's a couple of things I forgot to do. Now, I personally don't massively contour my nose. I'm quite happy with the shape and size of my nose. But I do put a little bit of bronzer down the sides just because I feel like it gets lost in my face otherwise. So I just use the Nars Eater brush. I've got the mini version. I got that when I bought my Nars bronzer. So yeah, just puts my nose back on the map. And then the other thing that I didn't do is I didn't put any highlight anywhere apart from my cheekbones. Let's just go in with a little bit on the nose, Cupid's bow. And then I like to put just a little bit on my forehead here and here. You can also use the same highlight for inner corner highlight. I am obsessed with the MAC Nylon for inner corner. So I'm just going to take this little Luxe pencil brush by Zoeva and just pop some MAC Nylon right there on the inner corners. Love this. I know it's old school, but who cares? And then finally for lips, I'm just going to go in with the Charlotte Tilbury Lip Cheat in Iconic Nude. Love this. And then I'm going in with the MAC Velvet Teddy lipstick. And just give it a little pat just to make sure it's all blended in nicely. I'm quite into a glossy lip at the minute, so I'm just going to go in with this high gloss from Primark, lightweight ultra shine lip gloss, and it's in the shade Nude Ambition. And there we have it, that's the finished look. I'll probably just go in with another spray of Fix Plus, just because I'm obsessed and why the hell not. So there we go, the finished look. I hope that you all enjoyed this video, and please give me some comments down below. What would you like to see? I was thinking of doing an all Primark makeup video, but is that a bit overdone? Are we over that now? Just let me know what you think, and I'll see you in my next video.